Greetings, Glitter Gang, and happy Thursday. Welcome back to Kathryn Scraps Live. My name is Kathryn. This is the December Daily Box Wallet Box. December Daily Wallet Album. This is the December Daily Wallet Album. And we are going to finish the last wallet right now. So I'm going to jump right in, because I want to get this done. We're going to start with the strap. So I'm just going to gently stretch these paper fibers. And you can stretch paper fibers. You just don't want to go, totally crazy. Gently. All right, so since we were last here, Judy has been working on her AI art. So she jumped right in. So that's right. We do have good representation for the Georgia gang. It's true. All right, we just need someone from like Columbus and someone from Savannah, and then we have like the whole arc, of all the cities. All right, so I earlier today marked 4.5 inches on this piece because that's how much I want sticking out when I'm done. And then I put it in the strap and used a pencil to mark where I need to stick it down. And now I just stick it down. That's what I do. Those little guidelines I drew are just so I don't get it totally in the wrong spot. So, got that on. So, Judy, tell us what were your thoughts on your AI art adventures so far. I know it's early. You're on day 1 of your journey, but a ball game at 6. I know it is chilly today. It is. We had the doors open for the cats. We put storm doors that have interchangeable screen doors and glass doors on all the 2 doors that we open to the outside for the cats, or that potentially we could, because the house has 3 doors. It has a back door, a garage door, which we use as our back door, and then it has a front door, obviously. I was like, what other kinds of doors are there? So we open the front door and the back door that's not the garage door now for them. And today they were crying and moaning because the door wasn't open, and I opened it and I was like, yikes! Are you sure you guys need to see out today? You couldn't maybe take a break? So, yeah. Now Marcel was being a helpful little monkey earlier, and he got out. Okay, so now we have the strap on, and I've lined the front pocket, so we're done with the front. I'm going to go straight to the back, and we'll work on the back. Just gonna get myself organized here. Okay, so this goes on the back, this goes on the back, that goes on the back. Inside, 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 all of those inside. these are also all inside. Put them there. All right. Then the presents go on the back. These two go on the inside. This goes with the presents. No, this goes with the ornaments. The presents go on the inside. Inside, inside, outside, outside. Okay. I got it all organized now. All right. So with these, we're just going to temporarily attach them. Yeah, there's a way to get it to give you a PNG instead of a JPEG, Judy. And those are kind of more endlessly scalable up, scaling them up without loss of resolution. So that's what that'll help. If you can figure out how to get it to give you a PNG instead of a JPEG. I made a trip earlier today. Some friends of mine and we've been reading this book series called The Realm of the Elderlings. It's a high fantasy book series. It's 16 books long. It's over 4 million words. And we've been reading it for over a year now. And we're in the last trilogy. So we're in the second book of the last trilogy, so we're on book 15 of 16, okay? And one of the main characters who has an extraordinarily depressed, morose, surly disposition had to dress up as a court jester for plot reasons that don't matter to you, okay? And so one of the things in the book is they talked about how the shoes had heels so high that they had to practice walking in their room. And someone said I need someone to make a fan art of this, and I was like, oh, but maybe the AI can make a fan art of it. And so it did. This is not, I think, what they were picturing with high heels though, but this is what it gave us. But those are jester shoes with high heels. That's what I asked it for. But I asked it to be like a Renaissance fine art era kind of painting. So, but we all laughed. We all laughed over that earlier. Because I don't know if I could even... Dolly 3, Judy, I think. If you find Dolly 3, I think it's Dolly 4 costs money, but Dolly 3 does not. So anyway, that wasn't what I was picturing exactly, and I just thought that was really funny. All right. So now that we've got that cut, we're just going to ink. Welcome back to the channel, or welcome if you're new. If this is the first thing you're seeing, this is part of an ongoing project. There is a playlist on YouTube that will eventually have all the videos for it if you would like to make one of your very own. All the resources will be in the playlist for you. Hopefully we'll be finishing it tonight. Fingers crossed, we'll see. Probably not, but we'll see. All right, and there we are. We have a little Marcel Munchkin in here. He's a little timid right now because he knocked over something really big and heavy, and he really scared himself. But he may make an appearance. We also have a Tiny, and I think Marcel may be hunting Tiny right now. So we'll see how that turns out. Oh, he just gently touched her on the leg, so he's not trying to surprise her. I think he wants her to play with him. They do have, she used to play a sort of tag game with Stormy, and she seems to have introduced Marcel to it. So the two of them have been playing more, and actually Kitty and Marcel have been playing more. Kitty has gotten a real boost of energy. She's settled in to her new weight and her new calories, and she's stressing out less about food, and she's moving around more and being active more. She's definitely climbing more than she has been recently, so I think she's feeling more confident in her movement. So that's good, because that was the whole reason we did it was because she had kind of lost some confidence in her movement and was kind of sticking to the floor. So she and Marcel one day, my sister and I, was it over the weekend? I think it was over the weekend. My sister and I were working in her room, hanging curtains and stuff, and the two of them were just running all throughout the upstairs, and there was no hissing or growling or anything. So I think they were playing a game of some kind. So Marcel may be getting some more playmates. All right. So there we go. All right, we're going to go ahead and stick this down. Oops, I got to add more tape. Just around the opening, there needs to be tape. And now that's stuck down. All right, so we've got both sides of the flap. So now we're just going to do the liner and the folder, and then we'll be done with the outside and we can focus on the inside. All right, so now we need 2 vertical photos. 1, 2. while we're at it, we're going to need a total of 4 vertical photos and 2 horizontal ones for this. So let's just tape them all at once and get it done. Get her done. Ugh. Okay, so yep, so we're just going to quickly finish covering these, and then we've got to figure out our box measurements, and then we've got to construct our box, and then once it's constructed, we got to design the paper to finish it off. We'll construct it out of chipboard and cardstock, and then we'll just put pattern paper on the outside, so it shouldn't take too long to design what we want on the outside. And then, depending on what time it is at that point, we will either look at Halloween paper or go to bed. Just depends. Just depends on what time it is. Oops, that was almost bad. Alrighty. What's up, Squeaky Deek? What? 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 Marcel's vocalizing more and more, so I think he's getting used to talking and he's not being as quiet. So we all are kind of trying to break ourselves of the habit. It used to be if he was vocalizing, we all rushed to see what the problem was, because he would only really do it if he really was like in extreme need of help. But now he's starting to do it sometimes, even just like if he gets a little frustrated by something. Like the other day we unplugged his water fountain, so the water was still in it. He could still drink out of it, but the water wasn't moving anymore. He was real annoyed by that, so he squeaked at me until I fixed it. Okay, so let's get all of these cut and into their folders. And now I'm going to put the craft knife away, and I'm going to peel the tape off all of these, and we'll get them in the folders and go. so the thing we got to bring the moisture in this room down has actually been helping to bring the moisture in this room down. We also have learned that PTAC units, which are is the kind of air conditioner we have in here, doesn't do as much to mitigate humidity as like a normal central air does. So there is a through the wall dehumidifier you can get for rooms that are serviced by PTAC units that just dumps the water outside. So if it remains consistently like way high, then we may have to look into that. But okay, vertical, horizontal. All right, let's do the horizontal ones first. Tiny cat. Why are you squeaking, Marcel? Is it much better? Let me check it. Because when I put the thing in, it was over 60 in this room, which I know is too high for indoors. That's why I wanted to yeah, it's still over 60. So it may not be enough. We may have to buy the through the wall dehumidifier, but at least a through the wall dehumidifier wouldn't be, at least I don't anticipate it would be as gross as a regular dehumidifier, the kind that like holds the water in itself and you got to empty it. That's what I don't want. I don't want to have to be hassling with that. So, all right. Okay, so these folders are now done. All right. So now we're going to go ahead and just cover this one that goes in the back, and then that'll finish off the back. Now, I think in terms of like, my desk isn't as sticky, so I think it's helping my corner more than it's helping the whole room. So but it is very helpful that it's helping in my corner, because the paper used to stick a lot more. I agree, Ella. I think the paper doesn't stick nearly as much as it used to. So I definitely think it is helping. At least in my corner, it's helping. So it's good. It's a good start. And hopefully it'll dry out a little bit over the winter. And then maybe by then, next summer, we can take a look at getting another one. All right. Getting a dehumidifier. Okay. All right, so that finishes off the outside. So, good shape. All right, let's work on things that are tags. Oops, and when I did all my photos, I forgot that I had to get 2 photos for the tag and 1 photo for the inside of the thing as well. So let me chomp these and I'll be right back. But yeah, the paper's not sticking as much, so at least that problem seems to be solved. All right. But it was nice to learn that there is a potential like long-term set it and forget it kind of solution versus having to babysit a dehumidifier. So now, because I was reading that indoor temperature needs to be should be between 40 and 60, because below 40 is too dry and above 60 is too wet. So your goal is to kind of be right in the middle of those, around 50. So being at, right now we're at 63. So yeah. Too high. Now that's just this room. This room has its own like particular challenges just because of the nature of what it is. So it's not like the rest of the house is growing mold, thankfully, but this room has a ton of paper and electronic equipment in it. I don't want this room growing mold either. So all right. All right, so that's the last of the photo mats for real. Okay. Okay. All right, so now we're ready to work on the tags. All right, so we've got 3 of them. We only have 2 reinforcers, so we need 2 more. So I'm going to start with a 1/4 inch hole punch. And then a 3/4 inch hole punch. And I line up that 1/4 inside that 3/4. And that'll give me a 1/4 inch all the way around. Okay, so with these 2, what I'm going to do this little piece of tape at the bottom of the hole is just to make sure that the paper's stuck down all the way around the hole, so that when we put the glue on for the reinforcers, it doesn't lift the paper too much. All right. After you put your first piece down, you need to remember to punch your hole so it doesn't get lost. Yum. That sounds good, Melanie. We had stroganoff. We made it over the weekend and we had plenty left over. So we had some more tonight. Made it with some ground beef I found in the freezer that somehow escaped the bake-off when I cooked everything in the house. So I also found some chicken thighs that escaped. So I still have to think of what to do with them. 2 packs. But we're actually starting to get to the point where we need to think about re-upping some of these meals. Not necessarily doing them again, you know, but like, what are we going to do next? You know, pick a meat to do the bulk preparation on, that sort of thing. Because I'm still enjoying always having the answer to what's for dinner and it not being something I have to cook. Or if I have to cook it, it's something extremely minimal, like last night where it was bake the tray of scalloped potatoes, saute the chicken cutlets in a pan. And then we got the Tattooed Chef sheet pan veggies from Costco, and those are really tasty as well. If you have a Costco, I do like those. You have to be a Brussels sprouts person, so that is the caveat I'll give it. But it's 4 pounds of really nice frozen vegetables. It's sweet potatoes, broccoli, Brussels sprouts, and they have a nice little seasoning. Not so much seasoning that if you had something you wanted to season them with, it would mess it up, but they're not, you don't have to season them if you don't want to. They have enough, you know. So those are good. Recommend those. If you're going to buy a big bag of frozen veggies from Costco, those are the ones that I would buy. And I will buy them again. And that makes a nice side to pretty much anything. So, yep. Yeah, the frenzy. I watched a video of these 2 friends who've been meal prepping together like that for like 10 years, and they have it totally down to a science. But they get together once a quarter and they bake all their meals prep all their meals for the quarter. And because they do it together, they can shop by cases. And I learned from them that not Walmart. Well, I guess it is Walmart, but Sam's Club, right? And Walmart may do this too. They're the same company, but definitely Sam's Club does it. They sell meat by the case, and their case price is much better. Of course, you have to buy it in quantity. You have to have a way to store it. You have to have a plan for the meat. But one thing I did appreciate is they seem to have 2 case sizes, and one is like a case, and one of them is a case of cases. So there's like one that's like $100, and then there's one that's like a few $100, right? But the $100 one is, yeah, a quarter's worth maybe for a family of 4 or something like that. So I checked those prices versus Costco, and I mean, it just crushed the Costco prices. And you really don't see that, where Costco is not the winner for head-to-head on prices. Or, you know, Sam's Club and Costco are all often kind of similar in price, where there's not really like a super clear winner between them. But yeah, this was something else. This was something else. So I need to do, but that, if I'm going to do that, I have to really have like a really strong, what the heck? Okay. I was like, it vanished into thin air. I'd have to have a really strong plan, you know. Because we do have a fairly good sized chest freezer, so once we really clear it out, once we're down to the bottom, we could have room certainly for a couple of them, like to do a chicken breast and maybe a beef of some kind or a pork of some kind, something like that. Or do a chicken thigh and a, honestly, if I was going to buy a case of chicken, I'd probably rather have thighs than breasts because I like them better for most things, most meals. So interesting. I wonder if it's like how regional it is. Because like, oh, and it probably does depend on what your favorites are. I know my parents have BJ's and Costco, and they go to both still. Oh, Melanie, it does sound like you may be in the market for a new one. If not now, then soon. Donna says Costco's closer, so I go there. I mean, in Atlanta, that would probably be a way heavily on me. In Augusta, nothing is far, so I can pretty much go anywhere. Now, if I'd grown up in Augusta, I might feel differently, you know, but because I have been from places where you had to sit in traffic just to go to the corner store, like no Augusta driving bothers me. Although one of the pieces we needed for our wardrobe, they had at the Charlotte IKEA. So we had to drive into Charlotte and we had to go get that. And we're about halfway. We're about the same distance from the Charlotte IKEA and the Atlanta IKEA. The Atlanta IKEA is like 15 minutes closer. So we were like, well, that's not, you know, the end of the world or anything. Unfortunately for us, and this is just bad luck, you know, the day that we went to do it, they had a horrific accident. I mean, with a fatality, you know, a horrible accident on 85, I think. And it happened in the morning. We got to it 7 hours after it had happened, and it was still causing a slowdown. And so I actually had to sit and stop and go traffic, and I was like, oh no, flashbacks, no. No. Well, and I probably should just, they're probably the same distance because yes, exactly, Donna, you're correct that on a normal day, normally I would assume Atlanta's traffic would be worse than Charlotte's. Because the way it looked is if it hadn't been for this accident, Charlotte's traffic wouldn't have been too bad. Because we were going into the city, you know, not leaving the city at rush hour. But this accident had caused terrible traffic all day, so we were just at the tail end of it, actually. All right, so I'm not going to put this like this. I want to put this like this so the sweaters are coming in from the sides. Yeah, that's what we did. We were on I-77 almost all of it. We only had to be on 85 for like a mile or two just to get like to where the IKEA was. But that was the longest part of not the longest part of the trip, but obviously the longest part of the trip was 77. But like, we sat in that traffic so long that on the way back, the trip felt like that because we were out of the Charlotte area and well on our way, you know, back in South Carolina, and it felt like a blink of an eye compared to how long we sat in the traffic on the way up there. Yeah, there we go. Okay. But yeah, so we have seen the Charlotte IKEA, and it was like, we were talking, like marveling about how clean and well organized it was. And we're like, I don't know, this is like a North Carolina thing, whatever. And then when it came time to like find someone, you know how you have to find the person to get on the computer and pull your thing down out of the warehouse? Well, there was no one to be found. We had to lap the showroom twice before we ran into somebody. And they said that they're having some kind of like real bigwig come and visit. And that's why there wasn't anyone, because everyone's running around the store trying to make sure that the store is perfect. I mean, they apologized, of course. But then I was like, aha, okay. So this is not how this IKEA normally looks. I see. Oops, we gotta add tape. So, yeah, unless I have some other reason to be in Atlanta, we may just go to the Charlotte IKEA. If nothing else, Atlanta's traffic is probably more unpredictable. But that was done. So we've got all the parts for our wardrobe. The wardrobes are installed and anchored to the walls. And Mr. Lifeguard said they now come with the house. They now come with the house. So if we move, they're staying as part of the master suite. So that's that. So that's what that will be. And, but we definitely don't have enough stuff to fill them, which is good, because, you know, that way we don't have to, we have room to grow and we don't have to worry about like bursting at the seams in 6 months. Okay, so now that's done. Add that to my little insert stack. So we've got this one, which is these two. Also, Charlotte's tax is much better. We definitely paid way less in tax. But we did not go for that reason specifically. We went because they had the thing we needed and Atlanta didn't. So, you know, who else had it was Jacksonville, and I was like, no, absolutely not. No, thank you. Because I know Jacksonville traffic is always terrible. And I'm sure the IKEA is in a horrible spot where the freeway is being constructed and the signs are confusing, and we'll get lost for an hour. Because that's what it's like anytime you drive in Jacksonville. And I mean, that's been since we moved to Miami in 2008. At the end of 2008, we moved to Miami, and Jacksonville was doing work on their highways, doing construction on their highways, trying to reorganize their highways. And when we drove the moving trucks through Jacksonville, leaving Tampa in 2023, they were still doing it. Still doing it. Still doing it. So 15 years later, still a work in progress. Okay. So now what I am looking for is that is probably what happened, Gretchen. They finished, and by the time they finished, their infrastructure was already behind again, and they had to start over. That is almost certainly what it was. Okay, so I have lost my folder, friends. My folder that goes in this pocket. And you all saw me do it, right? You saw me put the landscape. You saw it happen. I put the landscape photos in the folder. And then what? I put it in the ruler drawer. Look at me having a smart thought to look in the ruler drawer. Okay. It's just the Jacksonville's just doing the Florida version of the Big Dig. Yeah, 10. 10's not terrible in Florida. Well, and actually, when we drove from Texas to Florida, when we moved from San Antonio to Tampa, I-10 in Mississippi was like fresh, freshly laid. It was like driving on a cushion. So they had just finished that part. So. Now, luckily, I-10 in Florida is concrete, so it's a little more durable, so it doesn't break down as fast. That's too bad about Santa Barbara, Ella. I always think of that as like a really beautiful place. Well, I guess everywhere is needing to be working on their infrastructure, regardless of, affordability, etc. Ugh. We're going to do this again. Oh, wow. Really? Come on. You got to be kidding me with this corner. You have got to be joking. What are you stuck to? Ugh. Okay, so. I mean, I had to use all my strength. All my strength. Okay, so I'm just sticking tape down to hold the ripped edge down to the cardstock so that stuff going in and out of this pocket won't get stuck on the ripped edge. Okay. I'm going to put a new line of tape just across the top. And I'm going to use a slightly thicker one, so paper that didn't get torn out is going to have tape on it as well. And then, unfortunately, I am going to have to put one in the middle, I think, because the bottom is weird. And this is definitely a problem that I think I can lay at the moisture's feet, because I just didn't have problems with paper like this before. All right, so. All right. It's a little crumply and weird in there, but it's not terrible. We can live with it. Just going to burnish that edge very well. All right. Okay. Woo! Got through that. That was rough. All right. All righty. All right. That one goes. This one goes on the front. Okay. Then this one is the next one down from the top. All right, and then last one. Ta-da! All right. And that's it. We're done. Ta-da! Whoops, that's not how that works. All right. Last one, and you can see that there's still plenty of room to put more stuff in there if you want. Okay, we did it. We did it, we did it, we did it. All right, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to do recording break. And then the next video will be planning and assembly for the box. And then the video after that will be the paper design for the box, because once it's assembled, we'll know what size papers we need. And then yeah, and then that will finish the project. Actually, that is what will make it done. So I'm just gonna close the straps on all the wallets, so they're all ready to go in the book, and then we'll figure out how big a box we need to make and go from there. All right. Okay. All right. But here we go. I mean, already so far, there's all our wallets ready to go. So we're already ready for Christmas. All right. Perfect. Okay. So we've got our little wallet stack, and now we're going to move on to planning and what have you for the box. So for those of you who are watching live, just hang tight. Nothing's going to change for you. For those of you who are watching in the archives or in the YouTube playlist, check for the next video. So on YouTube, if the video is not there yet, it'll be there in a day or two. And if you're in the archives, it'll be there, unless I forgot. But I'm live every Thursday at 2 p.m. Eastern USA time and 9 p.m. Eastern USA time, and I'll be right back. Bye now.